Okay, in this session we want to look at putting up our menu options. So let's get underway. So from our coding, we've finished our footer, we've done our header, we've got the index main page set up. So let's work on the menu. Now the menu is going to have a couple of different items in there. So what we're going to do first of all is we're just going to echo that information out. So the first thing I want to do is say to them, let's echo out, select the game level. So this will use a H1 tag and also have a break for a new line. There's no break at the moment between menu and this one. If we want to put the break tag in, we can. So that's just /br. And that should now put select level game. So let's check that out. Refresh the page. There we go. Select the game level. All right. Let's have easy, medium, hard, and expert. So let's get those options up. So this line of HTML is a H3 label, H3 header tag. Then we've got a label for easy, and then we have the word easy. Then we close the label and we close the H3 tag. Once again, there's no break on the end. Let's have a look at the final result of this. When I refresh the page, you can now see easy. So we have a H1 and then a H3. Now we're going to do the same thing for medium, hard, and expert. And I've also placed a break tag after each one of these as well. Now you could have an extension with a high score table. So if you play expert, that's the one we're going to keep a high score table on, but the other ones we're not. That'll allow you to use an array, which will ensure that you meet the criteria of the assignment. So let's save this and go check out our end result. Okay, there we go. Select a game, easy, medium, hard. At the moment, it doesn't look all that interesting. Let's go fix that up with a bit of CSS. So after header and before footer, we're going to put in main. And we're going to do a text align center again. I want a width of 1024, and also I want a bit of padding at the bottom of 50 pixels. Now I'm just going to save that and have a look. There we go, now the page is all aligning. We could also turn the text color to white. Just going to save that and have a look at it now. It's not too bad, but we'll live. Now what we need to do is actually turn these to buttons. Now to do that, we need to embed this document inside of a table. So let's have a look at how we do that. So back on our menu page, we know we have some PHP, but when we want to make a form, it's actually going to be done in HTML. So I'm just going to set that outside of this document and go form, and then I can give it a name, and the name's actually going to be equal to menu. And we could actually place that in quotes because it's going to be a little bit better. Single or double. I normally use a double. Now this form's going to use a method. Now I can use the get method or post, even though we won't be able to see the variable being passed through the URL bar. We'll be able to display that on the other side. So we'll go method. It's going to be equal to the post. Now this is where the fun part comes in with the action. And I've got another tutorial explaining this. This is going to help us sanitize the data that's being passed. But the data that's going to be passed is actually through a PHP command. And what that's going to look like, is this: PHP echo HTML elements and send it to the server and send it to itself. And you have to remember that when it gets sent to itself in this case, because the index.php is calling it, it submits on this page here, the index.php, not actually on the menu. So this is a child of the index.php. I'm just going to save that at the moment. If you have any errors, you'll see a little red line appear and you need to correct that before you go any further. Now that opens the form, and we also need to close the form. So that's the end of the PHP, and then we can just close off the form down the bottom here. So that's now turned this into a form. Let's go see that our page hasn't collapsed. There we go, we've still got an output, so we're doing well. Now, I've used a label before. You didn't have to, you could have just had the header 3, but I was sort of ahead of myself there going, okay, we'll have a label because underneath that label we can actually place a button. Okay, so we're going to echo out, and we're going to echo out a button. Now, you've got to remember that we're using a form element, so once again, we're going to use an input type, and that input is going to be type submit. Now, submit is the action part of a form. So if we want to pass any data, like if I'm playing easy and I want to pass a random number between 1 and 10, or the range is, the maximum number of the range is 10, I've got to use a submit element. So the type submit is a submit element, allows us to pass some data along. Now we can actually give it a name. So this name here is going to be called game size. So when I want to reference the value, it's going to be stored inside a variable called game size. So when we post this, that's the wrapper or the variable name game size. And then we can actually put a value in there. So this is when I want to pass the data. What data do I want to pass? For a game of easy, I just want to pass 10. Then I want to close that. And then I have a break after it, so it should be okay at this point of time. And then I can close off the echo tag with a semicolon. So let's just save and check this at the moment. All right, there we go. I've got easy with the number 10. Now, if we change the post to get and save that and just refresh the page now, when I click the number 10, you can see that game size up the top here is equal to 10. So we are passing the value of 10. So we know what the upper range of our number guessing game is, because the very first thing we need to do with the number guessing game is generate the number to guess. So let's finish this off and do medium 1 to 100, hard is 1 to 1000, and let's do expert 1 to 10,000. So let's replicate those in. All I'm going to do is copy this line of code down, because the only thing that's going to change is the game size. And the expert one again was to 10,000, so 10 and 3 zeros. Save that, refresh the page. Now I have all the different game sizes. If I click 100, you can see 100 is being passed. If I click 1000, it's being passed. Now the next thing we need to do is on the index.html is capture this button number that's being passed across.